let's see this happen. Come on, are we live? Testing 1, 2. We're back after the holiday season. We missed last week, but we were here Christmas Eve. I'm Scott Stimson with International Computer Solutions, and this is the San Carlos Computer Club. We're meeting here in Tequilas. The first meeting of the new year. Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
And I got here late enough, I'm still eating breakfast. Jim's about to join me.
And me.
Bill and Cheryl are going to join me as well. We got Paul coming online. Dad's online as well. We got a display up here behind us. I think everything's rolling.
We're wired.
We're going strong.
What's the email? I mean, what's the password?
For Tequilas, it's capital T, Tequilas with an S but no apostrophe. 1, 2, 3.
Tequilas 1, 2, 3.
Yep.
Am I in?
Totally uncrackable password.
But which
That's
one
right.
is this?
Oh, that's the hard part is what's the web address? So you're sitting right in front of my camera. It's at 98. The infinitum.
The 2.4?
Yep. We're getting people online. Linda's with us. We haven't seen Linda in months, I think. When's the last time we saw you, Linda?
Well, I was on a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, but in person last year.
Yep.
What is our website?
Perfecto.
Is it Infinitum?
Everything I
website?
expect it to be.
The infinite
Every time.
2.4.
Yeah,
They
okay.
change cooks.
It's not
I'm
the-
out of here.
your password?
It's the consistency that you appreciate.
I'm not getting onto the,
Absolutely.
I'm not getting onto the meeting.
Huh? You got to go to
Your Google Meet app,
the Google Meet and find
find the code.
I just click on the email.
I don't know. I just
Yeah, if you can bring up your email to the one that I sent out, click on the code there in the email.
Yeah, I
Hey,
see it.
Paul,
Oh, it's new
I'm
meet
trying
code,
to
yeah.
trying to wave to you, but you can't see me. Hold on a second. There we go. Hey, Paul.
So we don't hear them if they speak?
I think that's me.
Well, he has to speak. Oh, well, there's something wrong, Paul. We can't hear you. You're not muted.
Do we hear it out of the TV? Or?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I mean, we already had Dad talking to us through the TV, so.
You'll be able to hear him. He's right over there.
Right, he's just sitting right over there. Paul, come into the meeting.
No, there's more decoration.
He needs a new background picture.
Okay, someone's got to let me in, I guess.
Oh, hold on, let me see. Maybe it's the other meet.
It's not yeah.
No, it's RGB. Because I'm the one that should let you in.
Yeah.
Very selective group.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh, I heard something there. Was that you, Paul?
No.
No? I just heard a crackle. When Dad's muted, so it didn't come from him.
It would be RGB.
Yeah. Yeah, that's you again, Paul. We're not hearing you, but we're hearing static, and it's indicating that you're talking. So there's something going on with your microphone on that end. Hello, Judy. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Welcome back with us.
Client doesn't have
Thank
to-
you.
You saw
Welcome back to you too.
Dr. Maggie.
Thank you.
It'd be
Thank you.
Christmas and New Year's, and she said, say hi to you.
Oh, that's nice. You hear that?
This was-
Maggie gives a big hello to everybody in the computer club.
Oh,
This is if you're on Google Meet.
Who was that said Happy New Year?
Linda's with us.
I know, but who was the other one that said Happy New Year that I didn't understand what Bill was saying?
Oh, it's probably Bill.
Oh, no, he said that Maggie said Happy New Year.
Oh, Maggie,
Yeah.
thank you.
Oh, okay.
But she wasn't
So-
wearing a sparkly hat.
Google.
Well, then you don't know if it's her or not.
Well, I hardly recognize her.
No, it's on.
But she
should
said-
be
You'd have to go
Gmail.
through some kind of two-factor authentication to
Well,
make sure it's her.
Exactly, but she said the batteries were dead in her antlers or whatever.
That sounds like Mag.
No, it's on
Oh,
Google
on your
Gmail.
phone.
Well, welcome in person. You've got me, Scott Stimson. You got Bill and Cheryl. Jim's here with us today, a special treat. Linda's with us as well. And Irving's come and joined us. And this is the first meeting of the new year, and we're still trying to get organized. Did Irving get connected?
I gotta download Google Meet.
Okay. All right.
This is
That would be it. But we're not just faces on the screen. We're people in person in the meet here. That's our meet camera.
Finish setting up.
And in typical fashion for our meetings, I've pre-prepared an agenda of stuff that we can look at for possible topics.
Ponielo.
This is the 11th meeting of the 2024-2025 club season. I have titled it our signal meeting, but in the extra research I've done, it's interesting. I've gone ahead and provided some pros and cons of using Signal. There are some big cons that don't have anything to do with privacy and have everything to do with convenience. And so it becomes a thing that you have to be aware of when you're choosing what kind of messenger you're going to use. And so I thought we should get on Signal and we can spend some time talking about the disadvantages I see and the real advantages and why this is pushed as the secure product. Judy, you got your hand up. Hello? Are you
I do. Give me a second to unmute. So my big con is that nobody uses it.
Yep, that is a big
I mean,
con.
if I try and use Signal down here, people are gonna go, what? We use WhatsApp.
Exactly. And so I don't
The
think you're going to be able to
people-
get... I'm sorry?
The people have just been trained to use WhatsApp that aren't in Mexico, like people I know in the States. So Signal for me is a non-doable thing.
Well, at the moment, I don't think we're talking about replacing so much as subsidizing your messaging experience with another messenger.
But who am I gonna message to with it? Nobody. Right?
Other people that are on Signal, including the
Yeah.
Computer Club and myself.
Yeah, well, that's
Yeah.
not many people, is it?
This is a training exercise.
Yeah, I understand. I was just giving my con, which I
Yeah.
think is a huge con.
Well, I think you're right. I think it is a big con because it requires people to embrace it the way they've embraced any messenger that they've had in their life, and they do that in exactly the same way. They pick a messenger based on where their friends are.
my phone.
So if you're going to pick a messenger based where your friends are, actually geographically, that's what's chosen many of these messengers. I don't know if you remember, but there used to be an AOL messenger we used for years. We couldn't get off of it because all our friends were on it. There was a CompuServe messenger for years. Nobody could get off of it because so many of our friends were on it. In fact, we went through a period of time where we had a dozen messaging systems and there was a market for a cross-messaging platform messenger. I used to use one called Pigeon and Trillion, and these services would allow you to link these messengers together into one interface so that you could talk to these people on these different platforms. A lot of that's gone away. A lot of that has standardized now. And I think that's kind of the reason that we need to sanitize ourselves and provide ourselves with at least an alternative option,
Is that me?
because they've all consolidated into big tech running these messengers.
I did.
So you want to consolidate because of fear, something about privacy? My big problem is I have people that I will send Messenger, Facebook Messenger messages to. At the same time, they are sometimes text messaging. And sometimes we use WhatsApp.
Yep.
And then when you want to go back, for example, we have 8 people, 8 ladies in a book club. Was that in an email? Was that in Messenger? Or was that in WhatsApp? I can't seem to find the message. So something that consolidated
That's Google Docs.
whatever way the people accessed
There's the
it
meeting.
would be an awesome.
Well, that is not an app we're talking about today.
Oh,
If anything,
no,
this
this is not my
convolutes the
solution.
issue even more and doesn't address that problem at all.
And the other thing is,
Rewind.
most of the people in senior citizens don't join me in anything else. Just make it simple. Give me one button to push. Only communicate with me in one way. They want one solution, not another alternative.
Does this work on Apple? Because
Oh,
he's
yeah.
clicking on it and it's saying he's not.
May I take a look?
Absolutely.
I don't think
So what is this thing you put on?
I used to join
Oh,
Google
this is-
Meet
this
just
is
on
Betty's
out
phone.
of
The,
Chrome without
yeah.
the Google Meet.
Yeah, it's not doing that.
It's not doing that.
No.
What is it?
And so what you need is this code, but we need to be able to copy it.
I just click on it and I have an Apple
I just
iPad.
click on it.
I gotta
I
tell you,
just
it's
click.
It's not going
he's you are in.
But the wrong.
He's on the document. Actually, do you have your email on here?
I did, I do. Google Mail.
Okay.
Mail.
Oh, I just saw one right there. There we go.
Betty's keys. Who's with me? The keys are in my,
Oh, Irving, do you not get the morning email? You've got yesterday's email, but you don't have the morning email. I don't see it here. So this is an interesting bit here because he's got the
Change review on the document.
the document that I sent out last night, but doesn't have today's morning meeting. And so when you open it, it opens up into Google Docs or on or in the Chrome web browser. But from the Chrome web browser, if you click on the link, it tries to open in Chrome and fails and doesn't recognize that it's supposed to be going into Meet. I wonder if we were to click on it from the email message, if it would have just opened up the app. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy the code. Hopefully going to copy the code. Temperamental touch screen. Why?
Document
No.
review of copy.
Don't you think that that's a Chrome issue? Because I opened mine with Safari and Firefox and they both opened from the original email yesterday.
It did say Chrome is not allowing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm reading the message right here, and so for some reason, when that link gets put into Irving's system, it's not opening. It's not saying try this in Meet. It's just immediately trying to open a Chrome page, and it's failing.
What if you resend the email?
Enter code, paste. Paste. Everything about this experience is odd, but this should work. Oh, I gotta let you in.
Okay.
Okay.
So only people with
And then-
signal.
And then turn down your speakers and your mute your microphone so we don't crosstalk on each other.
Oh, my microphone's muted.
Mm-hmm. So, Linda, what were you gonna say about Signal?
You can only chat with people on Signal, or you can just send emails to anybody on Signal.
Only Signal, just like WhatsApp, just like
Oh,
Telegram, just like Messenger.
okay.
Now, the reason that Signal is important, maybe we should backtrack a little bit, is because this is privacy. This is considered the gold standard for privacy in the tech world. And if your concern is eavesdropping, tracking anything that your conversations are going across, this is the privacy messenger. And it's finally reached a level where it is sophisticated enough that it's doing all the jobs our regular messengers are already doing. So you can do group calls, one-on-one calls, you can do text messages back and forth, and it's all encrypted end to end.
This is data. Have to have a telephone.
You have to have a
But
telephone
is
number
it over
associated with
Wi-Fi
it.
or is it
It works over Wi-Fi. It works over internet protocol, but it's associated with your telephone number
Yeah.
with a device.
I just did it.
So it's not cellular data.
Yeah, it's just
It
like
runs.
WhatsApp.
It runs across, yeah, just like WhatsApp. It runs across internet, whatever your internet plan happens to be.
So is this all purpose encryption? Is that all purpose?
That is the reason for this. Is it's for secure
And
communications.
WhatsApp is less than.
So WhatsApp is the closest thing to it. WhatsApp was designed by the people that designed, by the guy that designed Signal. And when he got frustrated with the way Facebook was handling WhatsApp data, he left WhatsApp. He sold it to Facebook and stewarded the company until he got frustrated with the Zuckerberg decisions that were being made. And so he resigned his position at WhatsApp and invested his earnings into this company. And if you go to the Signal website, you'll see it's a nonprofit organization dedicated to secure communication for everyone on the internet. Now, what's amazing about this product is that there's no place that your contacts are inventoried. When you use WhatsApp, your list of contacts is sent to Facebook to find out if they have WhatsApp contacts, to find out if they have WhatsApp accounts. And Facebook gets to collect that information about who you're tied with. Your phone number is tied to those phone numbers. What Signal does is it uses a hashing algorithm to allow you to send your passwords to a server that is using hashing to match you with other people's phone numbers. Because of the way the two-key hash algorithms work, like what we're using right now for encryption, there is no way to determine what those contacts are. There's no way to pull out the numbers. Signal can't pull out the numbers in its database. All it can pull out is encrypted keys. Right.
I'm not familiar with the hashing term.
Well, it's encryption. It's two-key encryption, private and public encryption, and it's been part of our lives for almost 20 years now, and we're just getting closer and closer to the surface. I don't know what else to say about it. It has to do with keeping things private. And the way it works is there's a public key. You have two keys. You have a public key and a private key. And when you send a message, you use your private key to encrypt it. And you encrypt it with your private key and your recipient's public key. When they receive it, they don't need anything but their private key to unencrypt it. So
every message is key. They're just asking me to set up it.
Yeah, and let's not go to it. I don't know what it's probably telling you to set up a pin.
Pin, sorry, yes.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Right. So as far as these keys go, you never see them. This is all happening in the background. We're talking about stuff that's happening backstage. And so none of it affects your messaging experience. And a lot of this stuff you've already been doing without even being aware of it. WhatsApp is the closest to Signal. And I would say it would be our gold standard, except it is owned by Meta. And they're constantly trying to pull information and track information of its users. It's the reason they bought it. It's for the same fundamental reasons of privacy and tracking that got the founder to resign from WhatsApp, that he went to make Signal. If you go to the Signal website, you'll find it's a non-profit organization dedicated to this open source messenger that's cross-platform, allowing private and secure communication across the internet. These are really good principles. But when we're talking about consumer stuff, the biggest deal I see is there is no way to back up your chats. And this is a very important aspect of your messenger experience that you guys should pay attention to. When you use WhatsApp, you have the ability to make a backup, store it in the cloud, bring it over to another device, right? You say you lost your phone. In a Signal experience, if you lost your phone or a stolen phone, everything in Signal is secure. Nobody's going to get a hold of it. Neither are you, because those only reside on the device. And there's no way to get those to reside anywhere else. The exception to that would be that there is a desktop client on Macintosh and on Windows where you can clone what's happening on your phone and have it in front of you. But you're literally like doing screenshots of stuff. There isn't a system to keep track of all those pictures and videos and conversations you've had. And so it makes Signal more ethereal, right? It makes it more vapor. It makes it more it makes it less static. And so those conversations, though that is frustrating. I'm a WhatsApp user, and I rely on being able to go back on conversations that I've archived and see that dialogue and those assets, those pictures and videos that were sent to me, the links that were sent to me. And in Signal, from my research, you can have that experience until you've lost Signal. And then you're back at square one again.
So you can have that experience until you lose it. Well,
right.
Gee, that's just a wonderful tool, in my opinion.
Right. We hear your opinion, Judy.
So
I always tell you my opinion on things.
I'm looking at setting up a profile.
Mm-hmm.
Allow Signal to find devices on local net. Information from net.
What are you looking at?
This is what Signal wants me to agree to. And the first thing it was, allow contacts.
Mm-hmm.
I said,
well,
no.
I was trying to explain the contacts thing.
Yeah.
I'd say don't allow, because I don't see why it needs your
right,
location.
I said don't allow. Now, do I allow it to know my devices on local net? But my two networks.
No, it's just explaining
Mine
to you
doesn't
how
say
it
that
could.
at all.
It says
Yeah.
don't allow or allow?
Yeah, just do don't allow.
Don't allow. Okay.
Yeah.
Gosh, mine doesn't say
Yeah.
that at all.
You guys are jumping way ahead.
Sorry.
It's so
It wouldn't let me go anywhere.
to stay within scope.
Oh,
See,
settings.
I'm sitting here.
So again, I will emphasize this is about private conversations, secure private conversations. And so this is the direction they've taken with how to do security. Look, Richard's come to join us.
Boy, you've got a
Morning, how
crowd
are you?
today.
Wonderful. See you.
How are you?
Hmm.
Good.
So this is
Hey, Richard.
in fact, I'd be interested in hearing Richard's position on this with Signal.
Okay, so you can only friends just like WhatsApp.
So, unlike WhatsApp that shares your list of contacts with Meta, Signal shares a hashed list of contacts with encryption. And what that means is that you can see every phone number someone else has made available to Signal, but Signal can't see it. So you can securely share your contacts with Signal, knowing that that list is it's unavailable to the host servers that are providing you with the other Signal users.
By virtue of everybody else, that's not a network.
That's right. There is no master list of Signal accounts that have everybody's phone number listed, because it's all encrypted. It can't be read even by the servers that provide Signal with it. So the only thing that Signal can hand out is the last time you used the app, and if you have the app with your phone number. That's all the information they've got. They have no idea who you're using it with, because the list of phone numbers you looked for to communicate with is encrypted to only you can see the list, the phone numbers that people have made available for people to see.
Do you expect this plant?
Not yet, because I am a consumer just like you. And what I mentioned, that con is a big con. I use WhatsApp to keep track of work. I need to be able to have a historic record, and if my phone goes in the brink, I need to have a system for bringing it back. And this is a really nice feature with WhatsApp. If you got the iCloud space, you can back up, and it's encrypted, your whole archive of chats. And if it's an Android phone, you can do it to Google Drive, and it's encrypted. All your chats, all your pictures, all your videos, all that is in a.
Can you divert it to a different cloud?
On WhatsApp, no. Yeah, on WhatsApp, well, you go to iCloud with WhatsApp if it's an Apple product. You go to, with Android, you go to Google with G Drive. Now, these are great features, and I would say that as WhatsApp matures, they're going to keep putting out great features. They're going to entice you into using this product. They just added AI to their search. When you
feature?
What's that?
Is that a feature or a bug?
I think we're going to find out soon enough, because I think that it's an infiltration into a system that was secure, and they've figured out a way to leak out information. Because that's Meta's job.
In other words, they're pirating.
Well, if you want to look at it in terms of pirating, they're trying to get your conversations so they can sell that metadata to marketers and advertisers, and at the very worst, data brokers that will use it for nefarious reasons. So I think, though, as we're moving forward, we all need to show a consciousness of this. It's the only way things will change, and this messenger has now reached the feature set that most of us care about. And that's the ability to make phone calls, the ability to make video calls, group calls, text messages, get notifications, send documents to each other. All these things
a
are
robust ecosystem of.
Oh yeah, that's very important too. The emojis are in there too.
That's mostly what Signal is evolving now.
Can you use WhatsApp in place of, let's say?
Well, people do all the time, but you need an internet service, whether it's provided by your cell phone service, and both WhatsApp, Telegraph, and Signal are all based on the same code base, which is open source. And they all require you to associate a device with it. And in this case, just for simplicity, I'm going to say you need to have a phone number. There are some ways around that, but right now for this conference, let's just say you have to have a phone number, and that device that holds that phone number is your identification to the network. Now where do I go with it?
Starlink starts offering phone service, all this we're doing. Does that mean you could up with Starlink, WhatsApp, get rid of like all of your and AT&T and all that?
You're what? So I mean, I'm imagining what the question is if you switch to Starlink's phone service, if that phone service is available for sell, then you would have an app platform based on that phone number. And you would go through the motions of moving your WhatsApp from your previous phone number to your new phone number. But these systems require you to be able to get contact back through like an SMS message.
No, I know what he's asking. He's not asking. He would have to get a, like I have. I don't have a phone that is subscription. I don't have a Verizon phone. I have a, what's the word?
Huh?
Internet phone.
I have just a phone that you can put anybody's thing into. Anybody's phone. You have a phone number, but whoever you're subscribed to, any service.
Unlocked.
That's what he's talking about. So he would have to get rid of Verizon.
Right.
Because he wouldn't want Verizon, he would want
Well,
to,
I'm paying like $110
Yeah.
a month.
Well,
Like-
no, but why would-
I think we got two different conversations going here.
Service
You're
provider,
talking
yeah.
about different phone service providers, and you're
No,
curious.
actually, what I was thinking is, um, Starlink, I have a subscription at my house,
Mhm.
Starlink. When you get a subscription with Starlink to your phone, will it give you full internet access where you thereby could the new program you're talking about, or what?
Well, again,
Probably not.
okay, so you're talking about switching phone services.
Yeah.
And if Starlink is going to offer you a phone number that would be in a cell phone, then you have an app platform to run these on. And it would be based on that new phone number. And you'd have to go through the motions of moving it from your old platform, your old phone number, to the new phone number.
but if you have a Verizon, they're not gonna let you.
Let me ask you a question.
Well, you're getting off Verizon, right? And actually,
have to-
FCC rules are that you're supposed to be able to take that phone number with you. So if Starlink does it correctly,
Question it this way. Wherever I am, on the boat list, I want to make a phone call to make it either in or
right? But you're able to make it.
take it.
Yeah.
I'm
You're
using
able to make
internet
it
data.
because you have data in that area. So that's what you're concerned about. You're concerned about the identification, which is based on a phone number, and whether you have data available to you. And actually, your
It's-
Verizon calls are going through data as well, but
Right.
it's a different. The way that they shape it is
Well,
different.
where's the data coming from? The not hooked up to the
Right.
I only have the Verizon.
Right. Verizon has internet data flowing through it. When you're
That means
connected to
which-
Verizon, you're
which-
able
which
to.
WhatsApp is using.
That's right. Yeah. And actually, it's another con for Latin America and countries such as Latin America, countries in Latin America, like Mexico specifically, because and this is from the consumer perspective. I told you my first one was we can't back up our messages. Let me qualify that with, if you're switching devices, that can be done. If you're going from iPhone 11 to iPhone 14, then you can do a device transfer of your chats and messages and assets. That works. But there is only local backups of signal on your phone. And you have to do them yourself, and they're encrypted with a 30 character passcode, and they're only achievable in another. You can only receive them in another device that you're setting up so that you can pass that backup over. That backup cannot be taken out of the phone and stuck somewhere else. So you can't put it on iCloud. You can't put it in G Drive. So Richard, you missed this. If your phone goes off the boat, you've lost all your signal chats. It's very, probably the safest way to think about it right now is very similar to your crypto wallet. If you're carrying that around in your phone, it's gone if it goes off the boat. What other point would I be making here? Oh, another con I have, and it's a con I have with all of these systems right now. And this is the part that really depressed me as I got deeper down the signal hole. It's a bare minimum of better. It is a better focus. Their focus is on privacy and security connect. It's a noble honor. It's a noble pursuit. They're nonprofit, but I don't see where they're letting outside developers be part of the group. It's a foundation, and so the developers are in the foundation. These aren't ad hoc people off in different corners of the world contributing to a noble project. These are employees that are working for a foundation driven by donations. What do you got, Irving?
Well, these noble nonprofits often have the directors that make money in the millions a year. So nonprofit, anytime you see some entity spending millions of dollars to present itself, getting back.
Well, yes, but if you have the moment, you have to look at the founder of Signal is a very unusual man. His name's Moxie Marlinspike.
Or that's his internet handle. Yeah.
Well, that's his performing name. And there's considerable video of him on YouTube. He's a enormously brilliant, highly eccentric, 6 foot 8 inch tall, white dreadlock boy from Boston or
Well,
something.
and a PhD in cryptography.
Yeah.
Cryptography.
And
And he has principles.
yes, I mean, you can look at who the man is. He started a thing called, he was the chief security guy at Twitter a long time ago, and then he's had an absolutely
So this is who the founder of WhatsApp teamed with to make Signal.
right.
Oh, so, okay, so WhatsApp owns Signal?
No. The founder of WhatsApp, like I was saying before,
Oh.
left WhatsApp. He resigned because of the way Facebook was treating his application. Because of the way because the founders of WhatsApp got into encryption on the back end. Like, I don't know if you remember, but there was a time when we celebrated, finally we have encryption in WhatsApp. We were using WhatsApp.
He himself might be working for nothing, but takes money to lots of money.
Well, yeah, this is, so I'm not going to get too much into the foundation, but it's a nonprofit foundation. And so the con that I saw in that is that any of these things that are beholden to donations means that you could find your your special interest slipping. Just the same way the Meta will change the special interest of WhatsApp. They're constantly trying to pry open that box and make money with it. Some good donor to a nonprofit could be steering the direction. And so that's why I feel like this is the best of the worst ideas, or how do you say, the least evil of all of these. Because what we do know about the messengers we're using right now is they are absolutely tracking you for profit. They're absolutely taking all your information and selling it to data brokers. The United States has done nothing to protect us from that as the individual. If anything, what they've done is made it an easy marketplace to sell your data. They've made sure they've doubled down on that being a business. And then we have institutions such as the FBI and the NSA that are so lazy in doing their job, they just buy the data from the data brokers. And that's about the closest thing we've had to a law of protection come up recently. I don't know if it got passed, but they had a bill going up that would prohibit government businesses, government agencies from using data brokers to provide that information for them. Now, I don't know if that's a solution either, because
It's not a solution.
Yeah, you're forcing the government to do the same kind of jobs. They become the data brokers.
That's saying that data should only be available to non-Americans who weren't bound by that law.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the net result, right? The Chinaman can go and purchase the data.
Well, it doesn't even protect you from like any of these organizations. Amazon generates that as a bad example. Anyone in the United States could buy that as long as they're not a government entity.
For the government,
yeah. It's more insidious than that. It's nothing. It's the paper you put over the toilet seat before you sit down. It's nothing.
Well, and then you have the government agency buying the data from a third party who's not in the United States. I mean, this is less than security theater.
What we like about Signal being the least of the evils is they have created a system where if you want to constrain the release of your information, they have created a technical, feasible way that they are not responsible for your data, you are. The only people that get to see your data are the people that you are communicating with. They can't see any of the other data that you've got. The government can't see your data. They can't track your data. The Signal organization, Signal Foundation, can't bring up, if they go to Signal with a subpoena, they can't give it to the government. And this is another reason we have to start promoting this kind of thinking, is they're going to make that illegal. We're going to have an administration in the United States that's going to pursue making the inability of attaining information illegal. And I'm certain that's the reason the FBI has come out recently telling us about the telecom breach, which they've known about for years, and may have pushed it up into our face because they see the writing on the wall, and they want us to move over to Signal. They want us to encrypt our stuff. We are gonna end up in a world where we have no protections at some point. I'm sorry, that might have went off the rails a little bit. So this is technology. It's a technological solution, and it's not perfect by all means. And you have to weigh the convenience and the security of using this over another messenger. I can't see myself using this over another messenger. I can see myself choosing to use this in circumstances with other people that have chosen to use this in circumstances. If my kid was in China, well, I couldn't access her through Signal because it's blocked. If that's the world we're living in now.
He's lives in Dubai, and the United Arab Emirates is
Speakers.
sorry. Anyways,
No, I'm sorry.
she can't receive any WhatsApp. She can't receive other thing. There's absolutely some paper mail. There's no.
Yeah.
Yeah, and don't get. It's like
So,
we're trying to do
in
wills and-
Dubai, you have, and this is a question, you have Signal and WhatsApp. So any kind of encrypted messaging,
I can do WhatsApp with her. Facebook Messenger, nope. Bills and legal death certificates and all that stuff. It was terrible. Banking.
it's quite strange that they would allow WhatsApp.
Is it?
Well, and not. I don't quite see that. Do you see what I'm saying, Scott?
Well,
or am I saying something?
It
stupid?
could be as insidious as they've got a deal to share the data, because that's what it comes back to. WhatsApp can tell you when you've talked to somebody, how often you've talked to them. They can't tell you what you're saying, but they've got that kind of information.
Yeah,
they've
but why
they've
would,
got your
why
web
would
of
they have
contacts.
why would they have a WhatsApp deal and not a Facebook? It's the same company.
That's what I'm.
Yeah, that's odd.
And
Yeah.
if you've done a deal,
It might be a
if-
technological difference.
Could be.
Yeah, it could be just easier than sorting out how to make it work. But WhatsApp is encrypted by default now. Like I was starting to say
Well,
before,
it's the Signal protocol.
right? It's based on the same software. They've just taken it over to Signal, but in WhatsApp they've added all these different things that pull you out of that security experience. Let me say that differently. I was starting to say that earlier. Is that WhatsApp was homegrown messaging without any security. It was as secure as Messenger is now, the Facebook Messenger is now. And encryption was something that was added later, and they fortified that with video and calling encryption as soon as we had hardware that could handle it. But it was an afterthought. Still pursuing the goals of the original founder, being so disillusioned with the way that Facebook was treating his customers. He resigns from WhatsApp. He joins with this cryptographer, and they make security the focus of this product. And so that's really what it comes down to, is this is the secure product. This is the one that's not selling your information. It's existing solely on donations. It gives you the privacy and the security that you would expect from communication, and now it has the features we would expect. But I still think these consumer features are still a gotcha. I think not being able to back up my chats really makes it difficult to turn somebody on to it. Like I was saying about WhatsApp. And that's the reason I think that you're going to find yourself aware of Signal, joining Signal, using it when it's convenient, but always going back to these other messengers because they own the road. They've been here the longest. You use the messenger your friends are in. If you, I've out of my family, I've been able to get my daughter on Signal. All right, I got 2 other people in my family. I still haven't been able to get on Signal yet. My folks are on here today thinking that I'm going to get them on Signal today. Well, I'm happy to do it. I'm happy to help you guys get on Signal and understand what's going on with it. But these caveats make it obvious to me it's not the one-all be-all messenger that you're going to be using at this point, because it's just not quite convenient enough under those circumstances. And what Judy says about none of my friends are on it, well, that's the problem, is you have to get your friends on it to use it. That's what happened in the beginning. AOL, you were corralled on a messenger. With CompuServe, the same thing. That was your service provider. You were corralled onto that messenger. And as those platforms came onto the internet, those people trickled into their messengers on the internet. Those have gone by the wayside for other messengers, but we use the messengers that we started out with our friends. iMessage, I haven't mentioned that at all. iMessage is encrypted. Apple should offer a copy of its iMessenger for Android. If they were, I say if they were smart, they're worth billions of dollars, so it doesn't matter. But if they really wanted to play a part in this, instead of just standing by and watching and laughing, they could offer a version of iChat for Android, and that would just slow all this development down, because that's all we really need to be secure with encryption end to end. I don't know if I have any more comments on that. But iPhone, because of that, if your group of friends are iPhone users, then you're all using iMessage, because that's just the first thing you did. That's the tyranny of the default, as they put it. You use what's in front of you. So I planned this meeting as one to get you guys on Signal, and after my research, I'm left with, I can't promote this as your #1 messenger because of the things like Judy talks about, where my friends aren't there, and things like my issue with the backup. I can't use it for work because I need to be able to go back to things that I've done, and being able to back that up is very important.
Well, it's sort of like WhatsApp. I mean, not everybody's on WhatsApp, and for you to get everybody on WhatsApp has been a feat too. I mean, pretty much around here now, everybody's on WhatsApp, but people aren't on WhatsApp up in the States.
You know, the reason WhatsApp is so popular in countries like Mexico and other third world nations is because text messaging was so expensive.
Right.
It was 10 cents a message. I mean, it was the same. It was comparative to what they were charging in the United States. And so they figured out, after data started flowing across the cell networks, that it was cheaper by the bit sending data messages using something like WhatsApp than it is to send text messages. For one text message, you could buy like 4 or 5 WhatsApp text messages for data. And one of the frustrations that's happened throughout the world is companies like Facebook with or Meta with their open internet offering, has given money to carriers in countries like Mexico so that they will make things like Facebook, WhatsApp, and Facebook Messenger free and not count against your data, keeping you isolated, siloed into those services. So even though you have an iPhone, and maybe you have iPhone friends in Mexico, you'll still use WhatsApp because WhatsApp doesn't count towards your data plan. Twitter's done the same thing. Oh well, yeah, the app previously known as Twitter.
There you go.
Well,
Smart girl.
it's really a tough balance here because you know that they're trying to crack the nut on WhatsApp. Having it controlled by Meta is not guaranteeing your privacy or security. The open source nature of Signal is a code review. There's no advertising. There's no advertising incentive. But at the same time, OpenAI was a nonprofit.
That on WhatsApp, every so often, I get added to these groups. And the most prevalent are the Bitcoin. That's been going
Yeah.
on since I first created one. I'd all of a sudden be getting these messages and they talking about it and all that stuff, and I've been added to this community, not by me, by somebody else. I quickly figured out how to delete myself, leave these things, block these.
Oh, I've blocked a lot of stuff and gotten off of.
I mean, don't you find that repulsive?
I do, extremely.
Why do you stay on the platform?
Because everybody's there.
Every time I want to have any business person down here was when I first started.
Yeah.
My house cleaner, the Pepe gas person, you know, deliver my propane, the house. They all said, "Here's." So I started it down here. Was
That's all
using
they
it with
use.
WhatsApp.
Yep.
And then my niece in Dubai said I can use WhatsApp. So it was a way to communicate. And I very quick, like I keep track.
Well,
of
I mean,
what's
the
coming
niece
in.
is the niece, but
Yeah.
it seems to me that if I'm buying services, I just tell people I don't use WhatsApp. I won't have a Meta. This is not my real phone. Okay, this is a phone that I use for business. This is a phone that I use. I won't have a Meta product on this phone. Any Meta product. I won't have Facebook. I won't have WhatsApp. I won't have Instagram. I won't have anything that guy's touched. And
But then like Cheryl says, you won't have contact with the person that delivers your propane, the person that sprays your house for
I
termites.
will tell the person, for example, the person who delivers.
They
my
can't
propane,
afford it.
I call them.
Oh, well, but how do they get back to
I
you?
call them and
I know.
say, bring me some propane, please.
Richard's just trading off convenience.
Yeah, but like down here,
I don't know
all
how
the
that's
card
less
groups,
convenient.
everybody's on.
Well,
WhatsApp.
but that's subjective. I mean, we're talking about the balance between convenience and security, and you've chosen security over convenience.
I find it, well, no, Scott.
Yeah.
I mean, it depends how you define convenience.
Well, I think convenience is subjective.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
And my subjective take is that it is no more difficult, and in fact, it's easier for me to punch a phone number and say, hey, please bring me some propane, thank you, than it is for me to engage in a bunch of little typing on a little screen and waiting
yeah, but again,
waiting
Wait a
for
minute,
him.
wait a minute. Also, there's the issue of Spanish, and WhatsApp makes it very easy for me to translate anything he says.
Yeah.
And to put
I
it
mean,
into
your
Spanish.
version of convenience
So I-
is subjective.
Translation is.
I'll go a
you're
step
correct.
farther. If you are making a phone call, right now it's
can't make a
become
phone
very
call.
clear it's not encrypted. So it is just the gas man, but it is the government's keeping copies of that vocal conversation. If your goal was privacy, you've broken it. You have not reached your goal by making a phone call.
If
Making a
it's
phone call
protest
through
case,
WhatsApp or
it's-
Signal is encrypted.
Here's the problem I ran into. A lot of these guys don't have minutes. They're broke. So every time you call them, there's no reply, and then 5 minutes later.
No,
they
no,
call
no,
you
no,
back.
no. And I'm a master
Yeah.
at this. You don't have to have minutes to receive a call.
They do receive it, but they can't.
Well, they should be able to answer a call.
So for some reason, they always call back.
Hmm.
And I imagine that maybe things have changed, but I have to imagine they were paying to call you back.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
they have to
Phone.
have minutes to call you back,
Yeah,
but
that's
they
right.
don't. And you can keep a because this phone has 2 SIM cards in it. Neither one of them have minutes. All I have to do is approximately, I think it's actually a year, but I never let it go that long. Let's say every 6 months I give Telcel 20 pesos.
You know,
And that keeps the thing live.
I've never
Right.
verified this, but if you have no minutes
Yeah.
on your cell phone plan
Yeah.
and you're sitting in Wi-Fi, can you use WhatsApp to call
Yes.
another cell phone that doesn't
Yes.
have WhatsApp?
Yes.
Okay.
I've never done it, but I've seen it done.
Okay.
Yeah, if you're in Wi-Fi, you can.
If you're in
Yeah.
Wi-Fi and
Right.
you have your phone number and your cell service does not have service, like you haven't paid your bill, you can use WhatsApp to call another cell phone, or does it have to have WhatsApp on
Okay,
the
so
other
let me
end?
explain. My phone, I use Mint Mobile in
Right.
the States.
Yeah.
Mint Mobile is not in Mexico.
Right.
Okay, so when I come down
You do
here,
Wi-Fi calling.
I do Wi-Fi calling, and then I've got a Mexican
Yeah. Yeah.
SIM card in
Right.
another phone that I use. I mean, I could put it in this one, but I've got a Mexican phone I just use for Mexico.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Wait a minute, if I try
That's it.
phone with WhatsApp,
Yeah.
the number doesn't
Have WhatsApp. That's the question.
I don't think it works.
I don't think it works
I don't know
either.
about
We
that. I
should
was,
check
I've
it out.
seen, I've seen
Right.
WhatsApp
They have to have
WhatsApp
WhatsApp.
voice.
Yeah.
Okay, but and if you say WhatsApp to a telephone number,
That's,
I don't think it happens.
Yeah, it
No.
doesn't seem like it
No,
works.
it says this person is not. Would you like to invite them?
Right.
You're absolutely right.
They have to be.
Right,
Yeah.
but no, what we're talking
absolutely
about
right. I
is if you
forgot
don't
about
have
that.
any minutes. For instance,
Yeah.
this phone, unless I'm sitting here on Wi-Fi, I can't use this phone in Mexico.
Right.
So I can't
right.
use it when I'm out in the car and everything. So
But
I got
even-
a Mexican phone. But I can.
But even if
WhatsApp.
you were,
Pretty colored.
you were on Wi-Fi here, if you didn't have minutes, you couldn't make calls. Even sitting here on Wi-Fi, using a standard phone call.
On
You
my
could use-
American phone?
Yeah, you could use WhatsApp, but you
Yeah.
wouldn't be able to use Mint Mobile
No, I
because you
can't
didn't
use
have mobile. You didn't have minutes.
Yeah.
Even if you were on Wi-Fi, you wouldn't be able to do it.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Right.
And so it's those nuances we're talking about here. Is how could you make a phone call if you're not on your phone service? Anyway. Before we get too far away,
And you also,
Carol?
one more thing, Richard, you also have to consider that maybe my housekeeper doesn't have 20 extra pesos. That is a real reality here.
Well,
Well,
then they could go
yeah.
to Santa Rosa and it would be 10. They have a grandfathered in.
You're missing the point,
Yeah.
Richard.
No, I'm not missing the point.
Well-
I think it's.
Our call
Why
is
don't you give her
ending.
10 pesos?
Our call is ending. I pay her to work.
Oh, yeah, the call's in.
I don't pay
yeah,
her
let's
to have
get
a
into
phone.
the
You
second
gotta
meet.
switch to the other one. Is he gonna be able to switch to the other one, or you're gonna have to do it for him?
Oh man, I might have to do it for him. Oh, and here's Jim trying to get in now, but it's too late. Our call's done.
Yeah. 'cause
So
see,
this
there's
is the
another
Y
code.
address.
Should I use this?
No, there's another code that was in that email.
The why
The why? Well, I had that code.
you did
Yeah.
before, but it might show up. In
It's
the day.
it's
We
still
show
you're
up.
gonna have. I don't know why it's not
Actually,
bringing it up
want
right.
some
But
more coffee.
What?
Can I fetch you some? I'll go
Yeah.
fetch myself.
you want me to?
All right.
No, actually, I'm good.
What
Yeah.
what you need
Good
to do is go to the Google Meet, and where it says
Now
Meet
it's
code or search,
the fault
type in
yes.
that Y code. It's
Thank you,
YAH
sir.
Here. YAH.
hyphen J as in John, T as in Tom, Z as in Zoo,
Uh-huh.
J as in John,
Uh-huh.
hyphen P as in Paul, E as in Paul, O as in Oscar, and X as in X-ray.
Okay. All right. So go. No, you got to go back.
Then
to
you have to
Google
go-
Meet.
Then you have to wait for it to let you.
Cheryl
Okay,
in the
and then we type
Matrix.
the code. Here it is. YAH hyphen.
Have a- anything.
Yeah.
It's always
uh-huh.
supposed to.
Then it's
So it must be back down.
T
Okay, so
D J I think
Have we got everybody back with us here except
No.
for Irving?
POX.
So I didn't want to get too far away from your WhatsApp group invite
No.
experience, Cheryl.
Access?
As we've been talking, I Googled it, and Google says to block unwanted WhatsApp group
Enter
invites,
Facebook.
you can adjust your privacy settings to limit who can add you to groups.
We
Oh,
did it
that's
through
where you
Oh,
had
yeah.
to.
You go into WhatsApp,
Yeah.
you go to settings.
I think that's what I ended up doing because I haven't got.
Yeah, you go into WhatsApp, you go into settings. I'm going to do this right now.
That's fabulous.
Thank you.
Settings,
Oh, and WhatsApp keeps sending me.
tap
Slide.
account,
Under bounds.
select
JT's
privacy. All right, where's privacy?
Yeah.
Great. Your instructions just fell apart,
POX.
Google.
It's
POX.
like your account.
Yeah, I'm in account now.
keys.
Maybe it's security. No.
Request info about security notification.
Put in the
Well,
one you
Google
said.
is once again lying to us by way of its AI.
It won't take it.
Notification.
Okay, so if you hit settings under accounts, not in accounts, on the settings page, there is a privacy option under accounts. And it says groups, and mine is set by default to everyone. And I'm going to change that to my contacts.
Is it? Comments?
So if you go into WhatsApp under settings,
Yes.
and you go down the settings list, there's one in the second group of settings called privacy. It's underneath
Oh, there.
account.
Sorry. I looked at it underneath account.
Yeah, and then
When you said underneath account, I went into account.
I did too, because that's what Google told me to do.
do. Listed below.
In fact, Google's instructions by way of its AI has said tap account, so it gave us incorrect information. But then in privacy, there's an option for groups,
Oh, groups.
JT.
and this is who can add you to a group.
CJ.
And mine by default was set to everyone.
JT.
So I've now switched it to only people in my contact list.
Okay.
All right, where was that?
C.
Okay,
Settings,
J.
WhatsApp, settings,
Got it,
privacy,
right?
and then groups.
POX.
Groups.
and
Okay.
contacts.
You had everyone, I do. Now you're limiting.
To my contacts, and so that means you won't get spammed with these groups from people you don't know. So I'm sorry to show up and not have the catch-all be-all messenger ready for everyone.
There's
Be-
my contact.
I'm very disappointed
I'm
because
disappointed in you.
oh, thank you.
Yeah, there you
Oh,
Well, and another disappointment, and it's a disappointment with all these messengers, is they've all embraced centralized servers. Even Signal won't run without their foundation servers making connections for you. Now, if you are in Signal and you are communicating with one of your contacts, that could be point-to-point encrypted. But if it's someone you don't know, then it definitely goes through the server. And this is a security issue, and it goes through see, one of my, let me explain myself a bit. One of the things that I don't like is the centralization of these communications. I think that we have better security by being able to work one-on-one transactions between each other. One of the difficulties with peer-to-peer interactions is discovery. Finding people who has a list of people to find, but what people are okay for you to find, things of that nature. And so that's what a centralized system does, is it's a repository of connections that you can make. And what Signal has done that's unique is they're not tracking these connections. They're out there for you to find yourself.
so the other thing that
Can
I
you
liked
let Irving
about-
in?
Oh, is it Irving finally with us? All right.
Yeah.
is that I can mute
No, no, thanks.
notifications. So if I want to a notification, that's fine. But if there's 62 members, for example, on the Comida Donia League, she puts her menu on there, daily menu on every day. Some people will communicate with her. I want to order this. I want to order this. I'm picking. I don't want to hear this thing ding every.
Mm-hmm.
So I turn on my notification section, mute always, and then
You
go
don't
and
have to
check it
listen to
myself.
it.
I don't have to test bing, 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 bing. I have a friend who, while we're playing cards and everything, his is going every 2, 3, diddly-dee, diddly-dee. It's his news feed. But
I
mute 'em.
have all my
Mute 'em.
notifications
Yeah.
muted.
But some people don't think they can mute them. But I guess the thing is, I say turn off the notification. So, well, I want to be notified. But maybe the word I need to say is mute them.
No,
Instead of
turn
turn them
off the
off.
sound.
And just mute them.
Well, or they could just, like, if it's an iPhone, you could hit the mute button. You
Or
know,
silent.
I just
In
go
an
into the sounds
Android-
and turn the notifications all the way down.
well, on the Android, you can pick
Lower
Do
the
Not
volume.
Disturb
Yeah.
from
Oh,
the
you
top
can too.
menu, and so it'd be. But there is mute available in all these messenger platforms that we're talking about. Skype is in this messenger platforms as well. I mean, using the same type of technology. It's another one that brought encryption. Signal's the first one that starts with encryption, starts with privacy. All these other messengers that we've used, encryption has come to it later. And WhatsApp, of the messengers that encryption came to it later, WhatsApp's the only one that fortified it, made it non-optional. And like I said, Signal started out that way. That's how WhatsApp has ended up. Your Facebook Messenger is not encrypted unless you choose to encrypt it. And they've presented it
Choose
to you.
encrypt it?
You can choose to encrypt it between individuals, but not by default.
Oh.
And so you can see the psychology in that. They've made it just a button too far away from it just being normal. And they've done that because they want your information. They want the algorithm to read through your conversations and add to their collection of data that they're able to sell, because that's what their business is selling data. They want to be selling data and hosting advertising. That's their business model. And so what are you doing over there, Bill? It's like you're not part of this conversation, man. You're over there watching
I'm listening
TikTok
to everything.
videos. You're sharing all our information with China right now. Don't you know that?
Yeah, I'm not logged on, but I'm
Bill,
listening to
Bill,
you.
you are the reason we're going to lose TikTok.
Good, good. Let me help you out.
It's all your
You just keep sucking it down. What do you got? You got 12 more days. They still don't have a plan. What's going to happen with TikTok?
Oh, they don't.
So I think if Signal came to me and told me what they needed to get you guys into Signal, I think the cons, these things that we've brought up, are the things they have to focus on.
You
And-
know, yeah, okay. It's a big thing about privacy. And
So I guess
The
if
other
you're
thing is-
planning a revolution.
yes,
you
Yeah.
wanna-
I was gonna say,
Absolutely.
what is
Oh.
it that explain that? There's always my thought. But also, like, the messenger, Facebook Messenger, video and
Mhm.
audio,
Because
calls,
it's so
always
integrated,
here,
and
always.
everybody else is integrated.
I find it way more reliable than FaceTime.
Yeah.
This round.
You gotta make it convenient.
That's right. Well, and that's why it's so. I mean, you can see how nefarious it is with something like Messenger, where they intentionally have made it slightly inconvenient so that you won't protect yourself, because most people won't pursue how to do it.
Very similar to trying to unsubscribe from certain.
Yes.
You
Oh,
can never find that.
Now that's frustrating.
Yeah.
You know, you got to dig way down in order to get rid of it.
And what that really exposes is the tech economy. I've been hearing it referred to as the rot economy, because their whole job is tracking advertising.
Yeah.
That's where all the money is being made. And they're spending their billions to make sure you're less secure so that they continue to make money off of that business
But
model.
on the other hand, have a choice. So convenient for you to use these programs that you give up. have a choice. Take it off.
Well, given the FBI coming out and saying that all these networks are compromised, and encouraging politicians and people to be
I've
using.
always assumed that because every time they break into the Department of Defense,
Yeah.
every time they break into the, I'm nothing. They got everything. They got me locked up 100%. They can't protect. Recent access. Major unless in the United States government.
You don't have it for
Can't be stopped. Period.
Agree. That's why it seems to me that the real challenge for the individual is that the data isn't harvested in the first place.
And that's what we're talking about.
Oh, but that's a choice I wouldn't make. I want to access to these internet programs.
Well, okay, but here's where you could make a difference. You're driving around here. You have your geolocation on your phone. Why?
Because
You couldn't get lost.
well, when people ask me if I'll allow it,
But is it on the phone? Here you are
Probably on it.
in San Carlos.
It's probably on. I mean, it's a rhetorical question
I
because
didn't even know you can turn it off. So they
You
have
sure
to
can.
guess.
right, yeah.
Sure you can. That way, they're still tracking you off the towers, but that way you're a big fuzzy blob that might be within a 500 or 1,000 meter radius, versus they can watch you walk to the
Well,
washroom.
let me say.
I like your analogy, but I think it's better to be said in that way. They're tracking you. You're not reporting yourself. When you turn off your location, sharing your location,
That's a nice way to
you
put
are
it.
choosing not to share, and so it's their onus to know where you are.
Because well, and you've taken away the granularity, because Irving, with that on, let's say you had it in your pocket, they can watch you go to the bathroom. Okay? With it off, you're just still in this fuzzy blob. Maybe you're in tequilas,
There's
maybe
a reason why I may not want to choose that. I might be wrong. I have a program I'm sure a lot of you guys have called AirTag.
Sure.
AirTag is a fabulous.
uh-huh.
But it requires open geographical change. I know right now how far my car away in Alaska. And if anybody got in and drove it, I would know where it is, and my luggage, and my
Irving,
and
these
my iPad,
these
does
features,
and my iPad.
Yeah.
these features are things that you can choose to use, and all we're talking about is you being aware of what is contributing to this data that's being collected, and you being the one that chooses whether they're collecting that data or not. You could easily do your AirTags with your location turned off until you needed to know that information. In fact, I would gather.
Actually, you get notices. AirTag sent.
if you turn it off.
Well,
You have your
the way AirTags work is it sends geographic locations that are encrypted to a server at Apple that you can choose when you've gotten into Find Mine, and you can see where those locations are. I'm very familiar with AirTags, and
That's
they
an Apple
continue to work
program.
even if you turn off your location. Your ability to track your items aside from the device you turned location off on, you're able to still track.
But then, when people in our busy lives, just the act of turning it off and turning it on,
Mm-hmm.
when there's things we are being neglectful about, serious things
Well,
all day long, I think it's hard to get that mindset.
Even the culture.
I accept that it can be done.
Yeah, well, even
Me
the
doing
culture
it,
we've
it's
created
not like
around it. Like I keep going back to, I can't back up my chat messages with Signal. I'm ready to just embrace and jump into Signal. I can't back up my chat messages. All right,
Do you let
I use Messenger on
do you let
Facebook.
applications run in the background
They,
when you're not using?
well, things like Chrome and things like that, I
Why?
guess so. Because,
What
I have
what
no,
possible
Well,
benefit?
let me
What
answer-
possible benefit?
no,
would
these
you
are
get-
nuanced questions, and
Why
each
not?
person would have different
Why not?
No, wait a
reasons
minute,
for
I'm
why
gonna
they
give you
might.
the answer
I'm gonna
here.
answer
Yes,
that
sir.
question.
Uh-huh.
First of all, my attitude is the different.
Mhm.
I know that they're looking at everything,
Hmm.
but I basically, see, I'm a guy that believes that the government should have a handle on every human being, so we wouldn't have terrorism. I
Okay.
mean, it's that important.
Okay.
So I would give up my freedom for that.
Okay.
And so we can monitor all this stuff and put an end to these mass killings.
Yes.
That might be a way to do it. Of course, that's not happening. It will happen. But point
I
is-
think it's more likely
but the
to
point
happen than
is,
not.
I
but
don't,
go
I don't
ahead.
think like you do. I think just the opposite. I accept the fact that they have to make money. How they make the
So-
I choose to do it, but I don't give out information asked for. Don't go into my tech. I'm not good enough and stop them. But I definitely do not give anybody when they say, what do they call it?
Ask you the permission.
Allow
permit-
allow things.
You allow for, what's the most common thing they ask you to allow for? Cookies. I do not allow cookies. I do not allow anything. I don't allow anything. I'm not a businessman. I'm a private individual. What can they get from me? Got almost nothing done.
Well,
Of course,
you,
maybe
I
what
don't,
frequency of going to the bathroom. If
I don't know if you
which I
remember
don't have, thank
when the
goodness.
New York Times they posted the data that they were able to legally buy from a data broker, and they were able to trace people from their
Well,
homes to work.
We all know anybody that's aware knows
Well,
that's
there's a big
happening.
difference between law enforcement knowing where you are and a private investigator that's trying to shake you down for money,
They
which
do.
is completely available
They do.
through these data
they're
broker
getting better
networks.
and better at it, especially as I get older. I mean, I actually got caught for $400 last year. Once before, I got caught on something that I got refunded, and it never should have happened. They did it so well. Did it so well.
Well-
I can even tell you the story. Someone here in town who very well that does travel outside to Canada and claim that the an email stating her situation and so forth and so on, and it so fit her character, what she would do and how liable, that I went ahead and sent it, even though Zell warned me not to.
Mm.
Felt that it was wrong.
You,
Unfortunately, it
you're
wasn't.
not the only one with these stories,
Yeah,
Irving.
no,
this is
But
one of the
it shouldn't
epidemics of
happen
where
to
we
me. I'm
are right
supposed to
now.
be smart.
Well,
I'm not.
and that's kind of like we've been lulled into. Richard used to give me crap about it, but I'm on board with him now. I didn't feel like there was anything we could do about it. They've lulled us all into this sense that there's nothing we can do about it, but we could refuse to use their products. We could choose the products that align with our beliefs,
Well,
and you're
again,
chipping away
to
at
me, it's
my
a form-
beliefs.
I look at that as a form of bigotry or discrimination.
How is that any different than voting with your dollars?
There's no difference.
Yeah, I mean, like,
I'm not-
if I choose to use an
I don't-
application
I don't agree
specifically
with that
because it
either.
gives you don't believe in voting with your
No,
dollars?
I don't.
Like I won't support Walmart. I don't like their policy, so I'm going to go buy stuff in another place.
In a sense, I do. I don't buy French wine, which I used to. Attitude. But when it costs these individual companies, I think one of the big Coca-Cola, soda companies, beer companies had a huge boycott because of some wokeness. I don't.
It was the trans person on a beer can.
Yeah, that's.
Oh,
That's
right.
what it
Yeah,
was.
yeah.
Well, I would say that if we embrace products that align with our beliefs, then we will see more of those products in the marketplace. If we have if we allow ourselves to be dictated to the kinds of products in
I
front
ask
of us.
you this question: your mind, what percentage of everything you in your life existed in consumer product is Chinese? Your personal opinion, you.
Well,
Yeah.
I want to know what you think my opinion of Chinese products is.
No, that's
No, I mean,
that's
where's
but
your foundation come from, Irving? What would even?
I'm saying that our economy, the average economy demands, I would say, to 90%. Was farms, local farms, and
Well, no, I mean, you're way out there, and we're talking about the privacy and security available to you from Signal and these messaging apps as they are,
No,
and these
I agree with
tech
what you're
companies
saying.
that are
I
harvesting
absolutely
data
agree with what you're
and
saying.
selling
I just
all
say
that.
that an individual like me, the average individual, it's not going to happen at this point.
They're embracing a different messaging platform.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, they're too embedded.
I disagree. I think that if you found yourself in a bridge club and they all agreed that they were going to communicate with Signal, you'd be in Signal
That's true.
because you'd have to talk to that group.
Well, that's what we're doing in WhatsApp. Like
Exactly.
all the card,
Yeah.
I belong to 3 card groups now, and they're all on here, and that's how they communicate with us.
And
instead of
all I'm saying is when you're making those decisions, keep these things in mind. It's what kind of communication you're going to have? Are you going to support the
Well, and I mean, in a very simple thing, and I'm sure it applies to a lot of people at this table, if you wanted to have a free email account that wasn't surveilling you, you just go get a Proton Mail account and dump your Gmail garbage. And there's no roadblock to doing that because it doesn't matter to all your friends that you have a Gmail account, right? But you choose to have an email account. Everybody chooses to have an email account that's surveilled.
My experience dictates. I am now a paid member, full member of email. Not what's it? Let me look. I have email accounts that I pay for that are not reliable. I've paid for an email account for years and years.
Proton's 100% reliable.
Well, I never heard of them, but I
Look them up.
subscribed
Proton.
Actually, Proton is the other one. If you have any interest in the security privacy issue, you should be doing Proton and you should be doing Signal. For your
And
communications.
the
What
beauty
am I
of
correct
Proton
about that
is
the paid,
if
that
you
they
are
come and they go. Well, things like Gmail, they stay.
Proton's been
reliable.
around for a very long time. It's very well funded. It's based in Switzerland, which still has privacy laws. And the beauty of Proton, unlike
Excuse
Signal,
me for a minute, Rich, I have a point.
excuse, it's much more important than mine.
are we going to have other subjects?
I don't think so. We've run out of
If-
time.
We're out of time.
if-
We're over.
Well, I need
If
help with
you
something.
have Proton email address, and your recipient has a Proton email address, the person you're corresponding with, it is ironclad encrypted by default, and you do nothing. You'll never
It's-
see it.
It's like Signal for email, but you have to have Proton on both sides.
But the WhatsApp's encrypted, right?
Yeah, no, it's the same software, same protocol.
Okay.
The difference with WhatsApp is discovery is shared with Meta. So Meta has the database of all your contacts, which means that every one of those contacts, they have every one of their contacts, and they've got the web of your connections.
And Proton, and I know I'm shifting from
They can also keep
messaging-
track of how often you've communicated with somebody. So they may not get your messages. They can at least see you've talked to these people.
And Proton has absolutely nothing.
And Signal has absolutely none.
Now, if I
Okay.
were to use Proton.
Yeah.
and I send you
Pardon me.
email at your Gmail account.
That's fine.
Does it go through? Or
It
Oh,
does,
it absolutely
you've-
goes through.
You've
but
dropped the security of encryption.
Okay, but if
When
I
it
say,
leaves
"Why don't
Proton."
you get Proton,
If-
and then you do so, then from that point forward, all
it's
that
completely,
communication-
and you see nothing. You understand? It's
Yeah.
You do nothing.
You do nothing different. It's just an email server. But
It's got the same interface as
I mean,
Gmail. More or less.
the truth is, you should have the same kind of security going Gmail to Gmail, except they use that for being able to feed their algorithm the information
Because
in
they
the server.
want to read your correspondence.
And they want to use that because they're a data broker and they
You're
sell
figuring my
data.
correspondence is going to
Well, no,
incriminate
but
me
this is
or-
just all part of the profile because
And-
now we know
and
if you like
advertising.
dogs or cats.
Yeah,
Now
yeah.
we know if you have a medical problem. Now we know when you're, where you go on vacation. I mean, you shrug it off.
Well,
And that's
Irving
your
did
privilege.
with I'm not doing anything wrong.
Yeah,
but the
I know,
point
which
is,
the most.
you don't know if you're doing anything wrong. You,
Well, and what's
you never know because it's subjective to whatever's in charge, whoever's pulling the
correct.
switches.
And what's wrong?
So why wouldn't you
today
just be
is-
secure right from the beginning,
Yeah.
knowing that no one can see what you're doing?
Yeah.
Classic example is 1930s. It was okay to be Jewish
in Germany?
in Germany.
And then
But
it
that
wasn't.
turned out to be not a good thing.
Exactly.
if you're
I really,
broadcasting
I
that-
was really surprised, and I'm not going to get into it with Mr. Braverman, who's a very bright guy, but that's not a bright statement. I got nothing to hide.
No, I
Is
don't.
not a bright
No,
response to
the
any
true-
of this.
true
You can have a
statement.
lot of. You can say the convenience is worth more to me than the pain in the booty of doing these things.
One of the
That's-
other issues is you say just get the other people to go on protocol. I know in my contact,
Yes.
I'm not learning a new thing. I'm done. Why can't I
I
just
hear you,
use what
baby.
I'm doing?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I've got
That-
5 different ways to contact people. I only want one.
Look, I
I
have
want
I
one
have
choice.
signal.
Yeah,
I have.
yeah, no, I
Signal.
agree.
Well, it's
I have
like,
Signal on all my devices, and I never use it because nobody else uses
That's
it.
That's
right.
right. And
Okay.
When I started this topic, I regenerated my Signal account on my phone, and I sent my contact list, and there's a dozen people on
I
it.
see you, by the way.
We
Yeah.
did Zoom. When we started this, we used Zoom. You made us switch to Google. I have to have a new way. Look
Yeah.
how hard it is for people to get into the Google Meet. They have to be added, all that kind of stuff. There's a
Oh, by the way,
million
we
people that
we
have
could do
my
our
contact.
meetings through Signal if we
Well,
wanted
I thought that's where you were going, and I thought, whoa, hold it. I think I'm becoming one
I
of
mean,
those.
just so
hustlers.
you
I've
can
had
see.
enough.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, yeah.
Let's just stick with what we know.
Recommendations, and then we're out of here.
All right, all right.
And then
Let me start by saying I recommend you have Signal available. Continue to use WhatsApp for security and convenience. If privacy is a concern, don't use Facebook Messenger because it just lulls you into a sense of security. It is not encrypted by default. If security is your issue, if it's just BS, it's just BS. But if security is your issue, and specifically if security is your main concern, use Signal and work with the other party. Make sure they're using Signal.
Well, if that's the case with Signal, why wouldn't you say allow them to see your contact in order to find out who else within your contacts would feel the same?
That's the point I was making, is that is not a safe activity with WhatsApp, but it is a safe activity with Signal because of the way they've decided to treat discovery. The discovery of other people using Signal, it uses these encrypted hashes, these 2 key hashes. And it is possible for you to see a number that you know in a list that the list holder cannot see.
Got it.
And that's the difference between it and WhatsApp. Facebook knows all. They've got all these webs of connections.
Just a little bit. Yeah, no, actually.
good man. Who you kidding?
Exactly. Just a little.
So I put on this meeting, or like last meeting that we canceled.
Send them. I have a recommendation. Send everybody a link to Proton. Just to the
I'll
Proton
put
website.
it. I'll put it in the
Yeah.
in the recommendations list. Let me
Yeah.
continue. So there is a how to use Signal app that I've put in here. YouTube. I put a section of recommendations for YouTube videos.
It's only 7 minutes.
Yeah, these are short watches. Give you some idea how it's working. Passkeys is something that I think we have to talk about at some point. I thought we might talk about them today. But here's a couple of primers if you want to get familiar with it. There's articles in this document today that talk about Microsoft is planning on doing away with passwords. You may have seen some of this stuff in the news. This will give you an idea of what's happening right now as far as this goes. The ability to get authenticated without ever having a password. And so if you're interested in a primer to those kinds of discussions, I see us talking about that in the real near future. As far as other recommendations, what do we got? Movies, TV shows, anything else that I should be putting on this list? Richard said Proton Mail.
668. No, it's six
688.
6888.
Oh,
It's the Negro Army Corps.
that's the one with
Kathy Bates.
no,
No, I'm on a
not
different
Kathy
one.
Bates.
Yes,
Oprah Winfrey's in it, but
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
main
Yeah.
character is Washington.
Yeah,
That's her name.
Kerry
Kerry
Washington.
yeah,
Washington.
that
Yeah.
movie was highly recommended by a lot of people.
It's
I
a-
gave it less than a 2 star. I don't know why.
Oh, you didn't like it?
I hated it.
Well, you know what? It was very, very cliche. Okay, so it's a war movie. So they have the standard blowing up,
Yeah.
landing on the beach, all that kind of stuff. But it had nothing to do with anything. So that was the intro. So then you have to get through that. And then you get into it's like having an introduction on a book. Skip it. You know, kind of thing.
Well, I
But-
went a
but
long
once
way
you got
into it
into
till
the
I couldn't
movie-
stand it anymore.
Yeah.
It
well,
was really horrible, but yet my wife liked it, and the people that recommended loved it. And I checked the ratings to see how far off I was. Far off. It
So-
had some well,
So
it had
anyways, I
different
feel it's a
ratings.
really good story about a thing that happened in, I didn't know anything about. At the same time, a book.
Wait. Tell me the name of this movie again.
6888.
68888.
Spell the word triple.
They're spelled out.
6888. I got it right there.
And it's yeah. There's a book called The Women, and it is about a Vietnam nurse. A nurse in
I think there's a movie. It was great.
I don't think there's a movie about this one because this is a very new
Well,
book.
maybe
But-
I
but
read the
it's-
book. Then who's the author?
Women, two people. Book club tomorrow or the
It was
next
a
day.
great nurse book like that. Really.
Anyways, what amazed me was the reaction of the after back from Vietnam. or whatever.
That's the book.
And they protests going. They kept saying there were no women in combat. There were no women. There were no women. And here's a woman suffering with PTSD.
That was excellent. I don't know
So,
where I got it
yeah.
recently. Probably in an audio book thing.
So The Women is a very great book, and 6888, both similar kind of experiences. I thought it was really quite interesting.
Okay,
I
so we
watched the
this
red one.
last night.
I tried to watch the red
I-
one.
That's the
We watched
Yeah.
it. It was
We
pretty
liked
bad.
It was pretty bad.
What's
The
that?
red one
We
is
weren't
Santa
sure in the
Claus,
beginning.
and his bodyguard is
The Rock.
The Rock, Wayne Johnson. Anyways,
The head elf.
the head elf.
But
He's a head elf. Yeah.
That security.
head security elf.
And he's a little bit bigger than the other. But anyways, it's funny. It's sci-fi.
No, it's not.
It's funny.
It's not. No, it's
It's funnier
it's-
than Dumb and Dumber type humor.
well, it's
We've had this
like it
discussion.
needed
That set
it,
a very low bar.
He
it-
likes
that's a-
that
yes.
humor, and I
it
don't.
no it I mean it needed to play on some some
Cliches and things.
so well the holiday spirit stuff more, and what it relied on was more of the Die Hard stuff.
The
It was an action adventure styled around Christmas.
Okay, so it wasn't a Christmas movie, but it was more of an adventure, and it's sci-fi. Because
Yeah,
it's a
yeah,
different
sci-fi.
world, and there's transportation and things.
Well, I
Okay.
watched the movie for the 10th time. I assume everybody.
What's this?
And they got to be. I mean, this is the most violent, wonderful movie. It's so violent. It's fabulous.
Okay.
The Grateful Eight.
Oh,
Oh God. Yeah.
I mean, is that a great
The
movie?
Grateful Dead.
Well, Grateful Eight did it, and it.
Oh, the Hateful. What is it? The Hateful.
is it the
The
Hateful Eight?
Hateful
Okay,
Eight.
the
But
Hateful
it's
Eight. That's Quentin Tarantino,
violent
right?
Yeah.
inside a room almost the
Yeah.
whole movie is
Yeah,
inside
yes.
one
Yeah, it's a
location.
Western
Yeah.
movie,
The
yeah.
hateful.
Okay,
I
here's
didn't
the
know
other
that
movie
there was a
that
Tarantino
Irving had us
film. I
watch
didn't know.
last night.
But I
The Wa-
definitely,
The Whale.
Oh,
The
the
Whale.
whale.
The
was
Whale?
fabulous.
I
That's
didn't
an
realize there was a
excellent
Okay,
movie.
Tarantino
Brendan
film that I
Fraser.
wasn't
Yeah.
aware of.
Oh,
I can't
yeah.
believe
But
how
I've never
they
heard
made
that
him
title.
up.
Well,
I'm
he won
kinda
an
have
award
a
for that,
big-
didn't he?
Well,
Yes.
it's,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I
The
clicked
They
on
had
it,
full
I didn't.
nominations and they
Hateful
didn't
Eight
win
has
a
got,
award, but I thought the
Is this a
psychological
recent?
drama
This
was
can't
Oh, no, it's
fabulous.
like 5 years.
This is okay. So it's an older.
I loved that
Yes.
movie.
Yeah, it was excellent.
I
Yeah,
thought it was old.
so that was very good. We watched it last night.
Vale, we talked about it.
Yeah, we've got it on our list.
Yeah,
Yeah.
2022 though, just last year.
2 years.
That's 3 years ago.
Three.
Two-
Three.
It is now 3 years ago, yeah.
3 years ago now.
Yeah.
I was going through
Those
some
years are
old
going like
computer
months
club
right
stuff the
now.
other day, and I'm like, oh wow, this is from 2009.
I did watch another one that I don't recommend. It's on Prime, and it was a other side of the mountain plane crash. Just some character with situations.
Why are you bringing this
So, don't bother.
It's non-recommendation. We
Yes.
don't have a
Yes,
non-recommendation.
we do. We do that already.
I didn't think we had that list.
Well, you know, I have to say,
Movies to
I watch
avoid?
a lot of Datelines.
Yes.
I am amazed at the stories on Dateline and how people dream up how to kill their spouse. It's amazing.
Why women murder? Why women kill?
Oh, that's
Why
a fun
women
series.
kill,
Yeah.
right?
My
Hilarious.
all-time favorite, which is our favorite program, is Forensic. One of the few actual that are really true.
Documentary type. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Reality
Real life
shows.
real life
Reality
drama.
shows, and it's fabulous, and it's very well in depth.
And now Irving knows how to kill his wife.
In more than one way.
I'm just killing it slowly.
Right.
Yeah.
Taking me a while.
I watched one last night real quick. He was a sports figure and she shot him. She killed him. She got away with it. And turned out after she got away with it, went and got artificially inseminated and had another kid. They took her back to prison and they took her back. She got a new trial and they convicted her. She killed him.
Wow.
She killed him because she wanted the money. And when they got her, they got a lot of money. She had a lot of money on her. And nobody could believe that she would do it. I mean, none of their friends, nobody, all these sports people, nobody figured that they were having issues.
So on the women now is written by Kristen Han.
That's right.
She's one of my new authors. She is brilliant.
What is the name of this book?
For women
The women.
The Women.
by Kristen Hanna, Hannah. And I must have about 6 or 7 or 8 books by her
As in-
already.
Carol?
Oh, she's that good.
Hmm.
Yeah, Leonard's
We've read
right all.
a couple.
Okay, well, I feel like we've gone over and we should call this to an end, but Linda did have something she wanted help with.
Yes, we need some help.
What do you need help?
Betty and Irving have 2 cell phones.
Okay.
They're on the same account.
This is starting out like a math question.
Each person has their own phone number.
They're going to meet in the middle at Chattanooga.
Betty wants
42.
her own text messaging app.
Okay.
Have to reset her phone up to give her her own private text message. Because
Well-
she doesn't.
Yeah, but why wouldn't it? Texting is associated with phone numbers. Why would she have the
Because the
same?
phone is on his, it's really in his name, it's not in hers. How can I,
But
what can I do with this
you
phone
read
to
them
give her
any
her
of
own
We
private
have
text messaging? He doesn't see.
Yes.
but
And they're on out.
Oh.
I think she's.
she needs her own iPhone account. She needs her own iCloud account.
She needs her own iCloud account. Can you
Yes.
help me with that?
Yeah, it's just signing up for Apple. I mean, it's free. It's just like signing up for Hotmail. You just sign up for Apple.
Well,
But-
do I have to
But if
reset her
you're
phone? I
following
mean,
her, yeah, it's-
Well, you have to
Wipe her
sign in
phone.
with a different profile.
so I have to wipe her phone.
Also, code.
No, not necessarily. You just sign out of the
Can you
Irving
help me?
profile.
Because I
Yeah,
don't
it's
know
under-
Apple.
It's under settings. If you go into settings,
Okay, hold on.
Leave it alone. That was the
That's
other
the one.
one.
I
Jimmy,
think
you
the
ready to
most.
go?
and as you
Okay.
leave the current profile,
Under
The long
settings.
nail
it'll
profile.
ask you
Is that the one that
things.
took
Hold
place
on.
in the
Are you
last
paying?
term?
One is
Had to
settings.
do
I'll go
with,
pay.
women's abuse.
So
Okay,
Linda,
go
listen
into
to
settings.
listen to me.
Okay.
As you
That was
leave
a-
the
that
other
was a very
profile,
involved-
as you remove it, it will give you warnings, and it'll say,
Watch the
"Do
cord.
you want to delete these contacts?" Since she's never had
Oh, you have a literary.
she's never had a profile, then you want to leave them on the phone. So anything that's in the phone, you want to leave on the phone and have it adapted into the new profile you're going to sign into. So it'll ask you messages as you're getting out of it.
Understand.
See you
What-
next week.
This is the account,
Okay.
right? And you would sign out of it. And as you're signing out of it, it'll ask you, what do you want to do with the calendar? What do you want to do with the notes? What do you want to do with the contacts?
Okay. Sign out.
And what
Help
you want to
me.
do is you want to keep everything on the phone.
All right, well, help me.
Okay, if you
Okay, so do what?
Well, let's not do that.
You want to
gonna-
sign out. Is that
that's
what you
how
want?
you do it. Yes.
Sign
I'm not
out.
going to take responsibility for this situation.
No, let's not do it now. Let's not do it now.
Okay,
Don't
Yeah.
bother
so,
us.
all right,
I mean,
so I
it-
gotta go to settings, go to the account.
Well, and you have to have an
Sign
account to
out.
sign into as well. So you need to sign
out.
up for a
So
new
then
account.
she needs to get her own Apple ID.
Let me sign off out of this meeting.
Okay,
Hey, this is Scott, San Carlos Computer Club. We will be back next Tuesday. It'll be another in-person meeting. It will be the 14th, and we welcome you to come join us in Tequilas from 10 to almost 12, it looks like. Jeez, that was a long meeting. Everybody's welcome. Anybody can contribute. If you'd like to get a copy of our document of possible topics, then make sure I have your email. Until next week, tech on.
Thank you, Scott.
You're welcome.